Luxury cars make you feel invincible, until 1 second at high speed proves you're not. This video examines real crashes involving the world's most expensive cars, moments where confidence vanished, metal folded, and the road decided the outcome. Join us as a detective where every detail reveals how disaster was inevitable. Number 1. Genius Ginimi Kadangure didn't just live fast, he lived loud. By his mid-30s, he had built a fortune on fuel flash and fearless ambition, turning himself into one of Zimbabwe's most recognizable high rollers. Mansions, supercars, all-night parties. Ginimi treated excess like oxygen. On the night of November 8, 2020, that appetite for speed followed him out of his own nightclub and onto a dark, empty road. Just before dawn, Ginimi slid behind the wheel of his $500,000 Rolls-Royce Wraith champagne plans still echoing in his head. Beside him were influencer Michelle Moana Amuli and 2 companions, all riding the high of alcohol, music, and money. Minutes earlier, Ginimi had posted one last Instagram video, smiling, energized, alive. It would become his final message. Witnesses say the Rolls surged forward, overtaking traffic at reckless speed. Then came the split second that erased everything. A head-on collision. A violent spin. Metal slammed into a tree and exploded into flames. Ginimi was thrown from the car, conscious, shaking, calling for help long enough to realize what he had caused. Within minutes, he was gone. Inside the burning wreck, Moana and the others were trapped. Screams cut through the smoke as bystanders desperately tried to fight the fire with bare hands. The heat won. When it was over, 4 lives had been reduced to ash and silence. Ginimi's death shocked a nation not just because of who he was, but because it exposed the truth behind the glamour. Speed doesn't care about wealth. Fire doesn't recognize fame. And when control is lost, even kings of excess fall the same way, hard, fast, and without mercy. Number 2. Tsortsis Monoyios had waited years for this moment. The red Ferrari 488 was flawless, low, loud, and powerful, a symbol of everything he had built since his quiet rise from reality TV curiosity to respected businessman. On a January evening in 2022, he finally turned the key, eager to feel what 250,000 pounds of raw engineering could do. His wife Athena sat beside him. The drive was supposed to be short. It lasted only minutes. The coastal road south of Athens was narrow, unforgiving, and dark. Witnesses later recalled the roar of the engine cutting through the night, a sound that didn't belong on streets like these. Just a few kilometers from the dealership, something went wrong. Reports suggest Tsortsis reacted suddenly, possibly trying to avoid a pedestrian. At speed, hesitation is deadly. The Ferrari veered off course and slammed into a tree with crushing force. The impact was instant. Fire erupted almost immediately, swallowing the front of the car. Athena was partially thrown free, injured but alive. A famous Greek singer driving behind them ran toward the wreck, pulling her away just seconds before the flames spread. Inside the inferno, Tsortsis was trapped behind the wheel. No one could reach him. The heat surged too fast. The car burned down to blackened metal in moments. By the time firefighters arrived, it was over. The Ferrari was unrecognizable. Tsortsis Monoyios was gone. The tragedy stunned Greece. A brand new supercar, a first drive, a road that allowed no mistakes. Investigators found no other vehicle involved, just power speed and a fraction of a second that couldn't be taken back. Tsortsis wasn't reckless by reputation. He was calm, gentle, well-liked. But that night proved a brutal truth: even careful hands can't tame machines built for the edge. When control slips, survival becomes a matter of seconds, and sometimes seconds aren't enough. Number 3. Cristobal Flores Espino and Robert Leroy Rocha never made it out of the neighborhood. It was a regular December afternoon in Dallas, Texas. School had just let out, families were filling the sidewalks, and traffic was beginning to thicken. Then the sound hit first. A deep, violent roar. A black McLaren slicing through a residential street like it didn't belong there. The car was a McLaren 570, a machine built for tracks, not school zones. Under the hood sat a twin-turbo V8 capable of launching from 0 to highway speed in seconds. Witnesses said it was moving insanely fast as it tore down Abrams Road right past a middle school where kids were still nearby. Whatever control the driver thought he had vanished in an instant. The McLaren lost grip, veered off the road, and slammed into a large tree with catastrophic force. The impact was so extreme it ripped the car in half. The front section wrapped around the trunk like paper. The rear engine and all was thrown more than 30 feet down the street. Debris scattered across sidewalks and lawns. Silence followed. Cristobal, 29, and Robert, 31, were killed instantly. There was no chance to escape. No safety system could counter that speed. Emergency crews arrived quickly, but the scene was already beyond saving. Twisted carbon fiber shattered metal and 2 lives erased in seconds. A nearby Toyota was also struck, sending its driver to the hospital. With injuries, she survived. But the neighborhood was left shaken. This wasn't a highway crash. This was a place where children walk home, where speed limits exist for a reason. Photos of the wreck spread fast. People couldn't believe a car worth hundreds of thousands had been destroyed so completely, or that anyone would drive like that there. Investigators are still piecing together the final seconds. But one truth is already clear: when raw power meets the wrong road, destruction doesn't ask questions. It just arrives fast, violent, and final. Number 4. Marcus and Melissa Crowtley believed the danger was part of the thrill. At 67 and 63, they weren't reckless youth chasing adrenaline. They were seasoned travelers, successful professionals, and longtime lovers of speed and luxury. The Sardinia supercar experience promised exactly that: exotic cars, scenic roads, and the illusion of control. Behind the wheel of a red Ferrari Portofino, the Crowleys joined a convoy of millionaires winding through the Italian countryside in September 2023, convinced they were in expert hands. But the road ahead was narrow, rural, and unforgiving. Dashcam footage would later reveal the truth no brochure mentioned. A camper van slowed the convoy. Impatience spread. One by one, drivers ignored solid white lines, a clear warning not to overtake. Then it happened. A blue Lamborghini surged forward at the wrong moment. Marcus followed, committing to a pass that left no margin for error. Metal collided at speed. The Lamborghini clipped the Ferrari, sending it violently off the road. The Portofino struck an embankment, flipped, and burst into flames within seconds. Thick, black smoke filled the air. Witnesses heard screaming from inside the wreck, but there was nothing anyone could do. The fire spread too fast. Marcus and Melissa were trapped helpless and gone before rescue teams could reach them. The Lamborghini survived the crash. The camper van flipped, its occupants crawling out injured but alive. The Ferrari did not forgive. When firefighters arrived, the car was burned beyond recognition, luxury reduced to ash. The investigation that followed shook Italy. Prosecutors opened a homicide case. Dashcam footage became evidence. Questions flooded in about responsibility, privilege, and the culture surrounding luxury rallies. For Marcus and Melissa, what began as an expensive adventure ended in a violent reminder: speed doesn't care about age, wealth, or experience. And when multiple egos collide on a road built for caution, survival becomes a matter of cruel timing. and sometimes timing runs out. Number 5. It started as a stupid thrill and ended as a nightmare caught on camera. In the early hours of October 2nd, 2022, a quiet neighborhood in St. Petersburg, Florida, was asleep when 3 teenagers slipped into the darkness. 15-year-olds Mario Bonilla and Kendrick Lang, along with 16-year-old Malachi Daniels, weren't looking for trouble, just unlocked cars. A game they'd played before. Then they found a white Maserati keys inside Temptation wide open. Lang took the driver's seat. Bonilla climbed in front. Daniels sat in back. None of them had licenses. None wore seatbelts. And none understood what they'd just unleashed. Above them, a sheriff's helicopter was already watching. As the Maserati pulled away without headlights, deputies moved in not to chase but to observe. Still, panic set in. Lang floored the accelerator. The Maserati exploded forward, ripping through residential streets at over 120 miles per hour. Houses blurred. Intersections vanished. Control was an illusion. Seconds later, it was over. The car jumped a curb, slammed into a sign, and flipped violently, folding in on itself like scrap metal. The crash was so severe the Maserati was nearly unrecognizable. Deputies arrived within moments. Bonilla was dead. Daniels lay critically injured, his future uncertain. Lang survived, barely, now facing consequences far heavier than he ever imagined. The helicopter footage told the whole story: the theft, the speed, the final catastrophic mistake. Inside the wreck, deputies found a handgun. Another detail in a chain of bad decisions. Parents were left shattered. One choice leaving keys in a car. One decision hitting the gas. 1 minute and a life was gone forever. This wasn't about luxury, or horsepower, or rebellion. It was about how fast freedom turns fatal when fear takes the wheel, and how some mistakes don't give second chances. Number 6. Dr. Anand Prakash. The live stream that didn't end. On a Friday night in October 2022, Dr. Anand Prakash, a 35-year-old medical college professor from Bihar, took the wheel of his newly purchased BMW and pointed it toward New Delhi. Beside him sat 3 close friends, successful, confident, laughing, as the headlights carved through the darkness of India's Purvantel Expressway. The road was wide, the night was clear, and the car felt invincible. Someone hit go live. Inside the BMW, a Facebook live stream captured everything: the dashboard glowing, the speedometer climbing, the sound of the engine begging for more. What began as excitement quickly turned into a challenge. Faster, one voice urged. Talk of 300 kilometers per hour didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a dare. Dr. Anand accepted. He told everyone to buckle up. That moment mattered. It meant he understood the risk, and yet his foot stayed down. The BMW surged past 230 kilometers per hour, covering the length of a football field every second. At that speed, reaction time disappears. The future collapses into a single heartbeat. Then came the words caught on video, chilling in hindsight. All of us will die. Whether it was fear or bravado, it was prophecy. Seconds later, a container truck appeared ahead. There was no time, no escape, just impact. The BMW was obliterated, metal torn apart, bodies thrown clear, lives ended instantly. The live stream stopped before the collision, freezing their final minutes in digital silence. 4 men left home believing speed was power. The road proved otherwise. Number 7. The city was asleep, and Alexei Dolgik felt untouchable. It was just after 1:30 a.m. In November 2025, when the 36-year-old cryptocurrency businessman pushed his Lamborghini Urus onto Moscow's international highway. The SUV was worth nearly $500,000, heavy, brutal, and engineered to dominate the road. Inside were three friends. Outside, nothing but darkness and speed. Alexei built his fortune on risk. Bitcoin trades, flashy displays of wealth, a lifestyle that rewarded bold moves and ignored consequences. Driving was no different. Dashcam footage later showed the Lamborghini flying at 150 kilometers per hour, far beyond the limit. Some moments even faster. The engine roared. The highway blurred. Control felt permanent until it wasn't. As the vehicle approached the turn toward the Leningrad highway exit, physics stepped in. The massive SUV couldn't hold the line. Tires lost grip. The Lamborghini slammed into a guardrail, launched into the air, flipped violently, and crashed back down in a storm of sparks and metal. Then came the fire. Flames swallowed the overturned wreck within seconds. Alexei was killed instantly. Another passenger died beside him. Two others were pulled from the inferno alive, broken, burned, and clinging to life. Cash scattered across the highway, bills drifting among debris like a final symbol of excess. Investigators didn't hesitate. Speed was the cause, and the past confirmed it. 586 traffic violations in 15 months, hundreds unpaid. Warnings ignored. Alexei Dolgik lived fast, chased danger, and believed limits were optional. On that silent Moscow highway, the road enforced its own rules and collected everything back. Number 8. Giovanna Ramos race. The ride everyone agreed to. On November 9, 2025, Giovanna Ramos race, just 26 years old, stepped out of the Rocket Sea Club in São Vicente, glowing with happiness. The concert had been electric. She was surrounded by friends Victoria, Bianca, and Nicole, and she insisted they all leave together. No one argued. No one imagined this would be their final decision. Behind the wheel was Giovanna's cousin Rui Barbosa, a young businessman, a father of two, and the owner of a recently purchased Audi Q5. At around 7 a.m., they pulled onto the highway, expecting a short, quiet drive home. Almost immediately, something felt wrong. Nicole sensed it first: the speed, the drifting focus, the unmistakable signs that Rui wasn't sober enough to drive. The Audi accelerated anyway. As the car entered a curved access ramp, control vanished. Rui missed the turn. The Audi shot off the road, crossed a stream, and slammed head-on into a tree. The impact flipped the vehicle, sending it crashing into a canal, where water rushed in fast and unforgiving. Chaos followed. One woman was thrown from the car and died instantly. The others were trapped inside as the vehicle sank. Nicole managed to escape through twisted metal. Giovanna, Victoria, and Bianca were pulled out alive, but their injuries were devastating. One by one, they were pronounced dead at the hospital. 3 young lives ended before sunrise. Rui survived. Tests later confirmed he had been driving impaired. He was arrested, then released months later under court supervision, a decision that ignited public outrage. Giovanna only wanted everyone to get home together. Instead, the road took her and never gave her back. Number 9. Jeffrey Lo Chong Hao. The drive that was supposed to end at home. On March 2, 2025, Jeffrey Lo, 37 years old, believed he was simply heading home. A successful executive in Singapore's food industry, Jeffrey lived a disciplined life: board meetings on Mondays, business trips abroad, long-term plans still unfolding. That afternoon, he slipped behind the wheel of a deep blue Porsche 911 Carrera, a machine built for speed, precision, and control. But speed has a way of changing everything. Dashcam footage would later reveal the truth. The Porsche cut through traffic far faster than the cars around it. Minutes earlier, it had run a red light. Near the entrance to the KPE expressway, the car suddenly swerved right to left, violent and unforgiving. Tires screamed. Metal struck concrete. The Porsche slammed into a divider, flipped onto its side, and skidded into innocent vehicles moving at normal speed. Then the fire erupted. Flames swallowed the car before anyone could reach him. Inside, Jeffrey was trapped. By the time firefighters forced their way in, the cabin was a blackened shell. A paramedic confirmed what the fire had already decided: Jeffrey Lowe was dead at the scene. 5 vehicles were damaged. 2 other drivers were hospitalized. Everyone else walked away. He did not. Friends recognized the Porsche instantly when crash videos spread online. The same car, the same road, the same man who had been planning meetings just days earlier. Investigators would later warn of rising speed-related deaths across Singapore. But for Jeffrey, the warning came too late. On an ordinary Sunday, one burst of speed turned a routine drive into a final destination. Number 10. Pedro Caique Ventura Figueiredo, a scratch that turned into a sentence. It was just after midnight when Pedro Caique Ventura Figueiredo, 21 years old, climbed onto his motorcycle for the ride home. He had done everything right. Worked 2 jobs, helped his parents, provided for his wife and their 3-year-old son. The road through southern São Paulo was familiar, quiet, and nearly empty. Nothing about the night felt threatening. Then a yellow Porsche appeared behind him. Inside was Igor Ferrer Seda, a 27-year-old businessman driving home with his girlfriend. According to Igor, Pedro passed too close and clipped his side mirror. A minor scratch. A moment most drivers would forget within seconds. Igor didn't forget. Instead of slowing down or pulling over, he followed. He accelerated. He admitted later that he knew the road, knew where the speed bumps were, where the cameras stood, where limits could be pushed. The Porsche closed the distance. The chase tightened. What began as irritation hardened into intent. Security footage captured the moment it ended. The Porsche struck Pedro's motorcycle with brutal force. The bike shattered. Pedro was thrown onto the asphalt, his body absorbing an impact no human could survive. The Porsche continued forward, slamming into a pole, then a tree. Silence followed. Pedro was rushed to the hospital. Doctors fought for him. It wasn't enough. Igor stayed at the scene. He denied anger, denied rage. Investigators didn't believe him. Prosecutors ruled the death wasn't accidental. It was a conscious choice driven by ego and impatience. A broken mirror cost nothing to replace. Pedro's life was priceless. And on that empty road, one man's decision ended another man's future forever. Number 11. Ling Gu was born into power and died inside silence. In the early hours of March 18th, 2012, Beijing's North 4th Ring Road was nearly empty when a black Ferrari 458 Spider tore through the darkness at deadly speed. Behind the wheel was 23-year-old Ling Gu, the only son of Ling Jihua, one of the most influential political figures in China and a trusted aide to President Hu Jintao. This was no ordinary crash, and it would never be treated like one. The Ferrari slammed into a concrete barrier near Bafuzi Bridge with explosive force. The impact shredded the car. Ling Gu was killed instantly. One woman inside the vehicle also died. Another survived but was left paralyzed from the neck down, her life permanently altered in a single violent second. First responders struggled to even identify the victims. The wreckage was that severe. Then something stranger happened. Photos of the destroyed Ferrari briefly appeared online. Questions spread fast. Who was driving? How could a young man from a modestly paid government family afford a $500,000 supercar? Within hours, the answers vanished. Posts were deleted. Searches returned nothing. Words like Ferrari Little Ling and even Ling Gu's name were quietly erased from the internet. Behind closed doors, power moved quickly. Ling Gu's identity was reportedly altered in official records. His father allegedly denied the body was his son's. Families of the women were said to have been paid to remain silent. And while the nation heard nothing, Beijing's political elite understood exactly what had happened. The timing was catastrophic. China was weeks away from a leadership transition. Ling Jihua was expected to rise into the country's highest decision-making circle. 5 months later, he was quietly removed from power. No press conference, no official acknowledgement. Just a wrecked Ferrari, a dead heir, and a story China was never meant to hear. A moment where speed, privilege, and secrecy collided at full throttle, leaving behind a crash that still echoes in whispers. Number 12. DJ Hisni Kestaj lived his life at full volume and died at full speed. Known across Europe's nightlife scene, Kestaj thrived in flashing lights, packed clubs, and cities that never slept. Music travel and adrenaline shaped his identity. On March 31, 2024, after a late-night performance in Switzerland, he left the stage behind and pointed something far louder toward Italy, a white Ferrari GTC 4, built for power, not forgiveness. Beside him sat 21-year-old Anna Krawska, a Ukrainian model rebuilding her life abroad. She told friends she was heading to Italy. Then her phone went silent. By early afternoon on Easter Sunday, witnesses say the Ferrari was tearing down the A4 to A5 highway at nearly 200 kilometers per hour. The engine screamed. Control vanished. Near Alice Castello, Kestaj lost the car. The Ferrari slammed into a guardrail with catastrophic force, ripping itself apart. The front section disintegrated and erupted into flames. A wheel was launched yards away. Only the rear remained twisted, useless, silent. Emergency crews arrived quickly, but speed had already decided everything. Both Kestaj and Anna were killed instantly. The fire was so intense, Anna couldn't be identified at first. Her identity was later confirmed through DNA and a gold watch often seen in her social media posts, a chilling reminder of a life erased in seconds. Investigators found no mechanical failure, no road defects, no other vehicles involved, just speed. Relentless, unforgiving speed. Kestaj left behind 2 children who would grow up without their father. Anna left friends waiting for messages that would never arrive. In the end, fame, money, and horsepower meant nothing. When control slipped, the Ferrari became a weapon, and the night ended not with music, but with fire metal and silence. Number 13. Sophia Naismith never saw the car coming. It was a calm June evening in 2019 in Glengowrie, a quiet suburb of Adelaide. Just before 10 p.m., 15-year-old Sophia was walking along Morfett Road with her best friend Jordan Kalia, talking, laughing, doing what teenagers do on an ordinary night. Sophia was full of momentum. A dedicated student, a standout volleyball player, and a state-level athlete preparing for a national tournament, her future felt wide open. Then the road exploded. A white Lamborghini Huracan suddenly veered off the street, jumped the curb, and tore through the sidewalk like a missile. In less than a second, the supercar turned a public footpath into a kill zone. Sophia was struck and killed instantly. Jordan was thrown aside, critically injured, but alive, left to process the horror from a hospital bed. Behind the wheel was 37-year-old Alexander Campbell, He had owned the Lamborghini for just 4 months. That night he was driving in sport mode, a setting that increases power and disables key safety systems, including electronic stability control. Investigators later confirmed he knew exactly what that meant. In a cold, urban environment, with a car capable of extreme acceleration, control vanished without warning. The community was shattered. Flowers covered the sidewalk. Nearly 2,000 people attended Sophia's memorial. Her school mourned a student known for kindness, discipline, and leadership. Online tributes poured in, including Jordan's simple message, "You will be forever loved and never forgotten." But the courtroom brought another shock. Campbell avoided prison. Though the judge acknowledged serious carelessness and confirmed the safety systems were deliberately disabled, the sentence was suspended. To Sophia's family, it felt like a second injustice. They refused to let her death fade into statistics. Sophia's parents pushed for change, and they won. New laws were introduced, tougher penalties enforced, and powerful vehicles placed under stricter control. Sophia lost her life on a sidewalk, but her legacy rewrote the rules, proving that even when justice feels delayed, one voice can still force the system to listen.